Or join audio? Nope. Continue without audio. Oh, shit. All right.
Yeah, see, now it's not linked together, that's why.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's okay, sorry.
Sorry for that.
No, because it's not just me that I'm speaking from. People have said they're frustrated. What do you want?
Yeah,
Spelled it out. What do you want?
I know, I'm.
Just not your morning.
I'm going back to bed.
Oh, this is all.
Hey Jody, we're on.
These
Okay.
are just, cause there's some big ones in there for Wilson Brothers. It's the final stuff to get them done and close out the
Cool.
whole. But since they were bigger ones, and they needed to, we need to get our stuff sent off to get reimbursed for that. So there was kind of a push.
Sure, makes sense.
So there's only 4 there, so super simple.
Okay.
That's what I like. Good, thank you.
Okay, did everyone, I looked at the minutes after, Doug sent them over and Chris did, and you made the corrections,
Yep.
so,
Yeah, looks good to me.
okay, so we'll
Just-
approve those.
Good job.
Move the 2 over 1 notch.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll approve those. The resolution for the CPACE information, I sent both those resolutions over to Dennison to review, and I have not heard back from, did you hear back from him on those?
I heard back from Dennis on 2 resolutions, I think they were the other ones that I was working on, hang on a second.
Okay,
Couple yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
adopt a good neighbor policy,
yep, he was good with that. He said
and
that's,
then
so,
the ordinance draft, there one change, that was for accessible parking, so no, I haven't heard back from him.
okay. So I guess,
And I hadn't seen that resolution that you guys did for CPACE.
well, they sent over 2, different ones, that were generic, and I sent them to Dennison, and I was just like, can you review these, which one should we use? And I didn't hear back from him, so,
See you today.
okay. So I guess we can look at,
We sent them on the 14th.
okay,
Will you please review these 2 templates for CPACE? They will be up for discussion at our next city council meeting.
so they will be doing our presentation tonight. We don't have to have the resolution done tonight, but we will if we decide, council wants to move forward after asking questions. We'll just need to get that resolution completed for our next meeting, so I will.
I can do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Would you mind, well, I'm gonna introduce it,
Okay, yep,
but then, would you mind wrapping it up
sure.
and just like moving it forward?
Yeah, I'll just get kind of a show of hands if people, if they have any questions, anyone opposed to moving this forward, speak now.
Did we share all of the letters from business owners with full council? I will follow up on that and make sure that
Okay.
everybody has that.
Yeah, especially before the next meeting, and I think it's good for people to know that there are, businesses
Support, yeah.
and nonprofits in town that are actually, looking to participate in the program. So
Yeah.
that would be why we're moving forward with it, not just for,
Doug, do you have any thoughts on that? Is that something you'd support?
Yeah,
It
for
just
sure.
seems like a no-brainer to me, like,
Yeah,
why wouldn't we?
I keep waiting for the catch, but
I know.
haven't heard it yet. I mean,
I think the only catch is that, it goes on your property taxes until it's paid off, and it doesn't get paid off if you sell the property. The future owner would then have to continue making those That was my understanding.
Who in our little town would be providing the money?
You provide the money. You get a loan, but instead of paying it back.
But I guess it's, do we have enough interest in this town for that? I don't know, I mean, nobody knows.
Yeah, it sounds like it. There were like 5 letters. I thought that everybody.
Yeah, well, the Roosevelt Center is hoping to utilize it because they've kind of capped out their grant funding options. And this would be a way for them to, do some more improvements on the building. And then it's paid through their property taxes, not,
Yeah.
all at
I
once.
remember the 5 letters or 4 letters, whatever
Yeah.
it was.
And,
The town has a lot of properties.
there were,
I wanted
there was
it.
another big one that was looking at it. I can't remember who else they had mentioned, but
So-
here in town.
In your case,
The
what
Roosevelt,
would be
yeah,
the stumbling
okay.
block?
In my case, the stumbling block would be, my amount might be too low, because it was a $35,000 solar system that we paid for out of pocket, and you can retroactively
Mhm.
apply, but it sounded like the minimum was 150, so it's more for bigger projects.
Oh,
So that would be my
Okay,
personal
that's what, I
stumbling
think
block.
that's what I was remembering was a gotcha.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, this is not for small individuals.
It maybe, but it just
It-
started in 2022, so
Right, it could be, it could be.
So I'm
yeah.
definitely gonna
Those
go
would be
there.
great questions
But-
to ask tonight.
Yeah, in other words,
Yeah.
why did they set the
Awesome.
limit as high as they did? Are
I don't
they-
think they have. I think that that's just what, they've only finalized 2 projects, so it's brand new. So,
Yeah, so it'll be, well, and I guess I would also ask, if you do sell your property, do you have, I don't know. My understanding was that it stayed on the property taxes for the new owner as well, but I don't know if that's true or not.
so that could be a stumbling block for, when you go to sell
Right,
a
your
property,
property.
but that's your choice.
Yeah,
Like, as a business.
yeah, 'cause
as a
you could
property owner.
probably, can you pay it off early? Probably you could,
Yeah.
if it was an impediment,
Impediment to the sale, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, but that's all the city would have nothing to do with that, that would all be,
Yeah, it's just,
Hey, Chelsea.
hi, Jesse.
Yeah.
All right, I'll try to dig those up and just forward them to everybody again if they haven't already.
Okay. Perfect, so, if you'd like to introduce that tonight, we'll have the presentation, and then we'll just, I'll just make sure that if there's any questions from any council people, and, if there's any opposition to moving it forward at this time, but to have it as action item for next meeting, or if they feel it needs more discussion.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
all right, so, hello. That's great, I'm glad you're here, thanks. Yes. So,
Denison said he will look at those and send them to you directly.
okay, perfect, thank you. Yeah, that would be great, and I will make sure Chris gets copied on that response as well, so since she's gonna be doing it. Okay, let's start. Are we close on this, guys? I think we are, aren't we? The short-term rental?
Yeah, no,
Everything?
honestly, made the edits last go,
Yeah,
a few little things, trying to remember what we had to change, but, the only thing that, I did send it all to Denison, and never heard back. Could anyone else hear back from Denison on it? Because that's definitely one I think needs to be reviewed before we can,
yeah,
especially because I did a legal webinar on STR ordinances, last Monday, and, they do have issue, like, there's concerns around, requiring that someone lives in, because I know we had that issue when we were going back through, a couple of years ago, in terms of, like, when we were doing categories, we were gonna do an in-state, out-of-state registration,
mhm,
which can be very problematic and illegal. And that can also qualify with owner occupied, which I don't wanna get rid of owner occupied. I like how we have owner occupied right now.
well, we're actually giving them something for it being owner occupied, so I
Exactly.
don't think that they're going to come back and say you're
The only problem would be is if someone who's not getting that privilege comes in and says, well, I live here 5 months of the year, or I don't have to live in my residence to qualify. I mean, we have other options, and that's why I wanted Dennison to look at it,
Okay,
just for Montana law, because this was a, national thing.
right.
So I just think that it would be really important that we look that over before trying to sign anything in, because we want to make sure we're 100% legal,
Mhm.
so.
Well, and I really, the new legislative session is coming up as well. And, I think we'll have to keep an eye on the bills that are going forward.
Yep.
On a lot of this stuff, because, I don't know, me too. So we may be doing a lot of work that ends up having to be changed.
Right. But
That's,
on the whole, I
that's
think.
life.
Yeah.
That's life, I know. But I like what we've done
Wake up
so
to it.
far, I really do.
Yeah, I'm really
So as
happy
long as
with-
he gives us the okay stamp on it,
Yeah,
I-
I'm really happy with how it is right now, so,
um,
and again, I sent all those off either last week or the week before.
it was, yeah,
So,
yeah.
just waiting for his rubber stamp.
Right, and I like how we cleaned up the zoning,
Yep.
so that, I never understood why we put all those regulations in zoning.
Yeah, it
To
doesn't,
me, I mean, that's,
I think it was just people that were working on zoning, feeling like that they wanted to see those regulations in place and not recognizing that that's not where that happens.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
but on a whole, I think that where we ended up after last week, I really like how everything's written out. I don't have any other changes.
okay. Anybody else have any other changes that we've missed? Okay. Well, I personally, I'd like to have it up for a discussion item at our December meeting. I realize we're losing Chris,
Yeah.
but we,
Weren't we gonna have it for discussion?
I think we're discussing it tonight.
Yeah,
are we?
I thought so.
that's
mean,
what I thought, but
I don't think it actually made them,
Agenda.
the agenda, yeah.
shoot, dang.
So, that's okay, 'cause, but that's okay. Well, I want Dennison to look at it.
Yeah.
And then we can bring it up for discussion. It's an ordinance
Mhm.
change, amendment. I mean, it's a lot of changes, so,
Yeah, it's
Um,
two ordinances
yeah.
and, also zoning, which we have to send that down to planning board to have them fix that. Don't be easy that.
I don't think so, 'cause it's council that approves it. I don't know anybody,
For what again, I'm sorry?
to change the zoning, words in the zoning document.
I don't know if that has to go to planning board or not. Maybe it goes to after you guys approve it?
Yeah.
The process on the zoning stuff.
I feel like they're the ones who write it and we approve, so it might just be it goes to them and then, well, yeah, that might be all.
I don't know, that might be a Dave question, 'cause he
Yeah.
served on both planning board and,
Yeah,
but we will take that into consideration, for sure.
The only action item tonight is the good neighbor.
Yeah, the good neighbor policy,
Yeah, action or discussion.
and I think
Right.
that's
yeah, and that resolution is all written and approved, so, Chris, do you want to, present that?
Sure.
And, and the only thing we did, is we just took out all of the summary of what the good neighbor
Mhm.
policy was. We just kind of condensed that in there, so,
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
and then,
I stuck it in there not knowing if we had to, so.
yeah,
Easier to subtract than add.
right, exactly. Okay, so, yeah, if we don't have any more.
yeah, that's really the only thing that I wanted to bring up, is that is something that we want Dennison to look at,
Okay.
and that might be why we haven't heard back yet, is he might be researching,
Right.
doing homework. It's not something I wanna get rid of, I think that it provides plenty of options for everybody, but I also just wanna be certain that, again, we're not doing anything
Yeah.
unconstitutional.
Well, and it'd be our state constitution,
Yeah,
not, because other states have enacted, it's just, it's usually at the state level, like if they charge higher property taxes if it's not your primary home kind of thing.
right, yeah, and that's,
Mhm.
again, I just remember when we were looking at it before, that was a subject that came up. So I just thought it was worth mentioning.
Okay,
And if so, like, would we wanna tweak it to where on-site management is now more owner occupied?
well, you could do that if you have 24-hour on-site city manager, but
Yeah,
that would do away with the people who wanna leave for the summer.
right, and that's, I mean, then there's also like the temporary, but again, I like the idea of someone who owns the home doesn't have to feel anchored to the home,
Right.
but still has options to like, again, what do you do with your ADU? Like,
Yeah,
that's more where I'm leaning, is just like, you know what, you're providing that primary residence, which is the whole point of the cap, and while also providing revenue for the community, which I think that was our compromise on that, or not compromise, but the thought process of the owner occupied was, you know, you have someone who's living here, and again, people like Jen, people like Kathleen, where, okay, yeah, I rent this part of my house, but then this part's for me, and
right,
I can come and go as I please without feeling, again, anchored. Where on-site property management is more of an anchor.
right. It absolutely is,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
so, anyway, that was just my thought on that. Again, I'd rather keep it, and I'm hoping we can.
Okay.
So I'm hoping because we have all the other options, that makes it okay.
And I honestly don't know that it would be an issue unless we hit that threshold of,
Oh, yeah, again, that's the other thing too.
none of this is gonna be an issue until we tell someone they can't get one because there's none left.
Right.
And then they're gonna pull it apart and they're gonna have their attorney like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Again, just planning for the future, doing it right the first time,
Yeah.
that's the important thing, so.
Yeah.
We're still developing, I mean, there's a lot of development that's taken place, and then there's more houses even right now that are almost done,
Yeah.
but haven't gotten their occupancy approval from Brian.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's always, it's just so fluid.
I know. And I mean, I understand kind of putting some guardrails
Yep.
on the whole thing, but at the same time, I feel, after COVID, this may have been an issue, but right now it's not.
And then like nationally, it's showing its trends, like where a lot of people are like, oh, shoot, I'm
Yeah.
not making all that money, I made it that one
Yeah,
year.
I mean,
then
it
this
is,
year,
the market is definitely in a self-correction.
Mhm.
And then with the new, like you say, with the new builds and stuff that are happening. And if we do end up annexing those additional areas for development,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
if the extra units up at the Spires get, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
there's so
and that's the other thing, too,
much
like,
growth that could happen, so.
thinking about just annexing, like if we did bring in Remington Ranch, like they have a very strict no STR policy, so I mean, that's a whole addition of properties,
With no
that-
detriment.
so.
Is that our-
But-
once they're in the city, can they actually,
No,
The
'cause it's an
HOA,
HOA, the
yeah,
will
HOA
have any
takes,
piece on
It would
that?
be like if the golf course says there's a bunch of mini HOAs within the golf course that have no STRs. So, because that's it, is HOAs can be more stringent than city or their municipality, but not vice versa. So, they can make more rules, but they can't alleviate rules. And just because there's rules with the city doesn't mean that they can't be more
So
stringent on them.
they can say no short-term rentals, but they can't say, yes, you can do fireworks.
Right, exactly. Good example on that, yep.
So, but, yeah. So, well, let's just, if you want, if you want to
Yeah, I can introduce it to say, hey, you know, these are the changes that are made. If
Yeah.
anyone wants to discuss it, like, we will have it up for discussion next council meeting after it's been
Yeah.
reviewed by the attorney.
yeah, but if you want to get back with Dennis then again
Oh, yeah.
and just say, hey, can you please, you know, this will be up for discussion at our next
Yeah.
city council meeting, so.
Yeah.
And we'll
I
move
would do
forward with that, so.
Yes,
Perfect.
So
Okay.
the vote to either approve or not approve these
Well-
simplifications would happen after the first reading.
It will, because it's also a change to an ordinance, so it's gonna have two public hearings.
Yeah.
So it'll have a
It'll be the
discussion
first
and then two
meetings
public
of
hearings, which
the
is why I
year.
kinda like to do the discussion
Mhm.
with everyone that's been working on it,
Yeah,
at our next meeting, even though we're losing Chris.
okay.
And then, you know, two more public hearings will give Ann plenty of time to
Mhm.
get caught up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it might
So I
just
won't
be
feel
worth-
like she's gonna have to vote on it, right, you know?
Yeah, I mean, she will have to vote on it, but
But-
it might be
but-
worth just mentioning to her, like, hey, this is one that's coming down, and
Yeah,
just if you wanted to know more about it, we'd be happy to talk to you, but it will be
Yeah.
up for vote your first meeting, so, 'cause I know that that can be overwhelming. But
Maybe.
she's also done this stuff before, so.
oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, she's not brand new.
Yeah,
definitely. So, yeah, I'd be more worried if we were getting like, you know, 3 whole new council members, then I would be, yeah. Because that's a lot for 3 brand new people, so at least, so, perfect. So, I guess I did kind of, you know, we had been talking about, cleaning up 906 for the business registration part of it too. And I don't know that there was really that much more that needed to be cleaned up for that, except we
Yeah.
have to change the categories for the businesses, because they're not, I think we just need to put from a resolution, those categories into
mhm,
906.
yep. And, you know, things that you might be able to break down a little bit further, like restaurants, and, 'cause I know that that's always been kind of the conversation too, nonprofits, kind of the
Yeah.
same way we did for each one of the STR categories, having those types of businesses, contractors, you know,
Right,
some examples, I guess, just something to make it really clear when people are, so they understand, like, oh, I'm preparing food, this is why I'm here. They can
Okay.
see themselves in that ordinance.
okay. Well, gosh, I don't know.
Is it, I'm confused between 907 and 906.
Is it
I
907?
think it's 907.
It is 907. I'm
Um,
sorry, I said I would fix that on there.
And where, so if we can go back to the good neighbor policy,
Yes,
I wanted to put a link into the maximum occupancy, and I had a question in there about linking to a 907. Is that the correct place to put that? Is that where we talk about occupancy,
no, the
or
good,
is that 963?
oh,
We talk about occupancy with I believe Chelsea, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we register the STR with the city.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's
In
in
our-
907.
it's 907.
It's 907, okay.
So
Yeah.
it should be associated with the registration, because then, like, the property management company says to the city, here's my maximum occupancy, which allows the city in turn to enforce that if they ever need
Okay.
it.
Right,
Okay,
yeah,
so it is
and that's
907.
because we took it out of 963
Yeah.
and put it in where it should be, which was 907.
Lonnie, who puts stuff on the website? Like, who would take this document and put it on the website? Danae?
Mhm.
And we'll talk to her then. Does she use Canva at all for any graphics? Okay, perfect.
Okay. That's because, okay, well, I'll try to go, through 907 with the other things and see if I can.
Yeah, and I made some initial notes on that, like, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
months ago.
But then we changed
Yeah.
the categories, and that's the main thing, is the
Yeah.
resolution we did for the business registration fees, that needs to be matched in the ordinance.
I can take a look at it too, and just
Okay.
mentally, like, piece it about,
Yeah,
yeah, so,
it just needs to match, is all.
no, totally, no, I hear you.
And it'd be nice if it were all done. I was thinking we could do it separately, but then you're approving the old stuff. So it'd be
Yeah.
nice if it could all be
Together.
together and done.
So if we can have it up for discussion by next,
Yeah, so if we
Okay.
could get those. And then if we do have changes, you know, we can still make them.
yep, because I know that Danae and, Dennison had some changes across all of 907 that aren't just included in the STR notes, that's just where I put the focus.
Okay,
So I know that they had some edits, and we should have that document, Danae sent it a few weeks ago
yeah,
with all of their changes, all
Perfect.
redlined and notes.
okay,
So, that will help kind of provide some direction of what they were thinking, and
okay. Yeah, I'll try to find that too. And I'll make a copy of yours and try to make some changes. And if you want to do the same, and then we can.
Yeah.
Bring it back. That would be great. Okay. And, yeah, and I think we're all good to go on the good neighbor policy. we'll get that adopted tonight. That'll be, hopefully, be.
Look at us, get some stuff off.
I know, perfect. Yeah, and then,
Good thing we have a busy weekend coming up, actually being there with the property.
I know, it's just, December is my second busiest month,
Oh,
and I'm
hear
just
ya.
like,
In the good neighbor policy, is it specific that you have to have it printed and posted, or is it is printed and
Mhm.
posted?
It doesn't say that in the ordinance, and that was one question.
Because
that-
we will do it digitally, easy peasy.
Yeah, no, that's simple, but.
Printing and laminating and posting.
Let
The,
me
the
pull it up.
ordinance says, please hold. There's a few whereases. It doesn't say anything about,
So it's
That has to be-
it's in 907 as well,
okay.
so,
Well, I have whereas Red Lodge Ordinance 963 states that the city shall adopt a written good neighbor policy summarizing local laws and regulations.
yeah.
Should it say, should it reference 907 then? Whereas 907 says this has to be in, or
No,
does that even
it just
necessary?
says, and in 963 is where it says it. It says the city shall adopt a written good neighbor policy summarizing local laws and regulations for visitors. It is the responsibility of the STR business owner to ensure the good neighbor policy is provided to all guests.
Okay.
So that's all it says,
Provided.
provided.
So we could, okay,
So as long as it's provided to all guests,
yes.
then,
that being said, maximum occupancy of short-term rental will be determined by the owner or representative of the home. Maximum occupancy will be noted on the short-term rental registration and must be posted at the property at all times of occupancy. And then all
Mhm.
signage required by city ordinance and regulatory bodies must be posted in the property, which means that's your registration and your license and stuff, but, so that one does say posted. We could change that, because again, we're still editing.
yeah,
Where instead of saying posted at the properties, just be provided to the guests. But I think we intentionally wanted it in the occupancy specifically, because we wanted it in the home so every guest saw, like, I just remember having that conversation a few weeks ago of having that posted specifically inside, so people knew.
the number of the
Yeah, the
occupancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like we have here.
Honestly, I wonder if we can just add that to our registration.
Would you, it is required on registration.
It's required, but it's not posted on the actual
Oh, you mean,
certificate.
oh,
And then that would eliminate,
I was thinking we could put it also on our EVAC map,
oh yeah, that's a good idea.
because
That'd
those
be
have to go up.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just brainstorming, like, how people could do
Yeah.
it and not, I mean, our issue with being forced to post, some of our homeowners push back even when we put a tack in the wall for the EVAC map.
It's true.
They think they're ugly.
Yep.
They push back
Yeah.
when we mount a fire extinguisher, and then and we have found over the years that even if we post things,
People
nice
don't
and
read
neat,
it.
Mhm.
nobody ever reads it. We do better with
Mhm.
SMS messaging
Mhm.
right before they arrive. Your maximum occupancy is 10,
Mhm.
you will be fined. Like, we push out a lot, like, ahead of time, and then
Mhm.
last minute, just friendly reminder, no
Yeah.
dogs at
Yeah.
this home, et cetera.
Right.
Okay, no, I,
So it's,
So it just, my only, and that's why we have property managers like you in a separate category than we do the private home,
Yeah.
because I don't know what the
Right.
private person does, and really that's
Well,
who we're like trying to say, you need to do this, because we already know you guys are
yeah.
doing it, and
Well,
amazing.
So one thing I think, just what she's
So-
saying, is mostly if something were to change in that good neighbor policy, and you have to go and update it at every single
Yeah.
property.
mhm.
But we have other alternatives for posting occupancy that don't necessarily have to be on that good neighbor policy as
Right.
well.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
it's gonna be on there already, but
Right.
it's also nice that we can have, like, again, our EVAC map has the occupancy on it,
Mhm.
which I think is honestly smart, because that's gonna be what the fire department looks at, so they're gonna know how many people to look for. Like, that's
Right,
something I always take into consideration with occupancy,
right,
is you don't want it to be like, oh, it's listed 6, and then there's 8 in there, so they're like, we got them all, and there's still 2 kids in the back room, like,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, you wanna verify, and I'm sure they wouldn't just go by that.
Yeah.
They're like, because you don't know if they had guests
Yeah.
over, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the private homeowner pushing out their Airbnbs. Also, I mean, if they get into it, the platforms, because
Yeah,
you're gonna be on a platform, you're not gonna have your own website if you have one house or even two houses.
right,
So Airbnb allows you to automate messaging.
okay,
You can send it out 1 day prior, 5 days prior, 2 weeks prior. Like, the technology is there.
right. They
Now,
just have to utilize it.
Some homeowners will just say, oh, I'll print it out and put it up, because that's easy.
Yeah.
And I'm in compliance.
Yep.
Yep.
I just was hoping that we could be allowed to push it out in other ways.
And we can.
Oh, yeah, and absolutely, yeah, okay.
No, I'll be doing both, honestly, because I like having things posted, just because not everybody
Yeah.
gets the message.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Okay.
I want grandma to know too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So are we good on that? Okay, perfect.
Is there a, deadline to become compliant with good neighbor policy?
I think, probably isn't it 30 days?
No, resolution is, immediate, but I don't know that,
I don't think there's gonna be people knocking on the doors for the
Right.
next,
I don't either, but I just wanted to,
yeah.
not only for us, but for private people, like,
Yeah, I would say that it's probably we'll have to work with Danae and make sure that when people are coming in to register, that they are getting copies of the Good Neighbor Policy and that they're,
yeah. I was also gonna say, she should probably send out an email to everybody who's already registered with that
Yeah.
copy.
yeah, through
Yeah.
the muni res or the.
yeah,
Yeah, however that looks, but if anyone who's got one, like, hey, just heads up, get this posted.
do you wanna work with Danae on that? Okay, thank you. Then I won't be directed you, but. I guess Dave's gone today, so.
You're acting mayor.
I'm acting mayor.
Where did he go? Where did he go
With the
again?
power. No, did he go to like Lapland or, he went
Yeah, he
somewhere.
went.
Where?
Norway.
Norway,
Norway,
yeah, he said something like, he was going way up north. I don't know.
You need, it's a fun time of year to go.
I know, Northern Lights.
Northern Lights, and there's something like all Christmassy. and-
Cozy.
I know.
Hoogie?
Yeah,
Say that?
yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't wanna waste all of our time. If we're good on all of that, then we'll just, have it up for discussion next time. Try to clean up the rest of the business registration ordinance, 907. And then the annual review, possibly I will be able to do that next time too. It won't have cute pictures or anything like that, but I will just be announcing where we're at with the numbers, that we've got the Good Neighbor Policy out there now, and, we're cleaning everything up. But to me, I think the important thing is where we're at with the numbers.
Yeah.
And
There are a lot
then,
of questions on that, so.
yeah, so, I don't know what else, anything else that you think that we should have in there?
Earnings,
Yeah, resort tax earnings.
yep.
And, yeah, and it would also show your your total revenue,
Mhm.
how much it's actually bringing into our economy.
Yeah.
Okay. But,
Yeah, I think that's an important story to tell.
What meeting will that be?
hopefully next one, because it should be an annual review,
Okay.
so I should probably try to get it done
This
2024.
year.
So 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, yeah, the cat.
We did get a reply from Dennison about the CPACE resolution.
Okay,
He said the documents look fine, they are pretty standard. The only question I have is if the city planner has had an opportunity to review this and weigh in. Which, that would be Brian? Who would that be?
Brian.
Well, we have WWC,
Oh, yeah.
we have them, so what's in our resolution that?
I can read it for you.
I'm just wondering why the planner would need to be included in that.
I think it's because it's specifically happening to properties, like it's constructional engineering, but I don't feel like that's really,
can I,
they're gonna have
I'll,
to get approved for permits anyhow, like.
I'll forward it on to, or if you wanna forward it on to Brian, and then he can decide if it needs to go to.
Okay, so forward it to Brian.
Yep.
Copy Lonnie on it too.
Yeah.
But she's in the loop.
Always copy Lonnie, that's just a rule.
Oh,
I know, always copy Lonnie.
Don't leave Lonnie out.
No,
so,
especially if it's your agenda.
is he acting city planner or?
Not really, he's just kind of helping with things.
He's like the in-house contact, and,
Yeah.
yeah.
He works with WWC on certain things.
Okay, so start tax earning total revenue, where we're at with the threshold or the cap. Probably good information too would be the number of new units that, like where we're at with the total number of residential units,
Oh, yeah.
what that increase was over last year,
Mhm.
how many more. So I can probably get that from you based on last year's, or from Janae, I guess. Number of new residential units. Could probably get from Brian the number of current building permits out there that are not completed.
I also put hotline complaints.
Yeah,
The reason I
oh
say that
yeah,
is there was like 7,
was there
yeah.
complaints number? And do we know what they, types, Janae would know what types they were?
Yeah, she sent me a spreadsheet with,
Okay.
the address, and it's funny, because one of them was one of ours, but it was well before we managed it. And so I'm like, I don't think that was actually an STR. So I thought that was kind of funny, but.
People just called it.
But
I want to
yeah.
complain about my neighbors.
I'm pretty sure, like, and I'm like, no, it's actually, they didn't get licensed for another 6 months, so that wasn't us. But, yeah, so there was a few of those, mostly it was, I wanna say there was like 4 trash, maybe 1 or 2 noise, and it was from the same neighbor, for the same property. I can't remember, I think I have that somewhere, but, yeah, it was very much, it made me giggle more than anything. Like, I was just
Yeah.
like, okay,
Well, I know the one they had recently was occupancy,
yeah.
and, there's like 2 units on the same lot, and both units were
Had
over,
people.
yeah, were over occupancy, and they had a little, disturbance between the 2 renters, because there's like one hot tub or something. I don't know.
I think that was in my neighborhood.
Sorry, we would never manage a situation like that.
Right.
Oh, good Lord.
We had an owner recommend that.
Yeah, oh
And
yeah.
I was
we
like,
had
no.
And they share the hot tub and we'll say, no.
You have these two tubs.
They don't even share, no,
So.
what a nightmare. I think it is the one you're talking about, Chris.
I think it is, 'cause I think Lexi is across from them now, so
Yeah.
she gets to enjoy all that.
Yeah.
She was complaining.
We were asked to take it back. We said no.
So I will gather that information. If anybody can think of anything else they want to know that they think would be great information, let me know, and,
Yeah, I mean,
I will-
big one would be just revenue dollars,
yeah.
total numbers, and again, maybe like a pie chart that shows, if you want, I can help with pie charts.
Okay.
Like, I can make it look pretty, 'cause I think that would be
Okay.
something that people are gonna request.
Yeah.
So it might be nice to just have like a PDF that people can have with like the annual review, and then it gives us a format for next year
Okay.
where we have that in place. But yeah, showing like total against our cap, where we were last year, where we are now.
Compare last year
Yeah.
to this year.
Total revenues brought in, total resort tax brought in. We could put T-bid money in there too.
Yeah, you could get me that
I
info.
can get you that.
Dollars.
I would bet that Cody could break that down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too difficult. There's only a couple of us that contribute, so.
Okay, maybe it will be a presentation.
Yeah, I think it'd be,
Okay.
I think it's worth doing.
Yes.
And- But,
Well, I will ask for your help on,
anything else
pretty
you can think of?
doing it.
No, I wrote it down to be here, like, you know, I'm willing to, if people
A question.
want clarifications and you wanna ask
Yeah.
Yep.
property manager, will, you know, off council, I'll answer questions, whatever is helpful, but just, I plan on being here for that one.
Perfect. Well, I'll just give myself that deadline, because I need to just sit down and do it. Now that we have, I mean, we should have everything all taken care of. We know, you know, and we can also put like how many fell off, how many we lost,
Yeah.
versus.
And I think that'd be interesting too, because it's one thing
Yeah.
to show the numbers, but how many new, how many left?
Yeah,
Because, I mean, there's obviously new ones as well, so
right, how many decided they
they didn't
And
want
we,
to.
yeah, we had two transitional long-term, which I think is a good,
Yeah.
bit of information, because
Yeah.
absolutely.
basically the owners were like, we need more
Yep.
steady revenue.
And that's exactly it.
Right.
It's
And-
good revenue.
I thought they determined there was no relation between short-term and long-term.
Like-
Well, that's my point, like, the argument that it impedes, really, the truth is that in this, municipality, people find that if they are willing to do a long-term, then they see more revenue and more consistent revenue.
Yep.
And the myth is that everybody turns to short-terms because it's more money than a long-term. So that was my reason for bringing that up, because we had two transitions.
It's actually the other way around,
Yeah.
for certain houses,
For certain houses, yeah.
yeah, for certain houses, definitely.
I'm not saying that one drives the other, but I'm saying that revenue-wise, it's a myth buster that the short term, what it allows is owner usage, that's
Yeah.
the truth.
That's
It's-
the reason.
Yeah, but if they just wanna make money off their property and make their bills and,
If it's a true investment in property and they want to see high cap, like.
yeah, they'll, you know.
Yeah, and honestly, the price of rent went up enough where people can actually see some money coming in. It's not just necessarily covering their property taxes and their insurance if they rent it out long-term anymore.
Yeah.
So they're, you know, yeah, people complain about the high
I was
rental.
making a joke.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think there's definitely a correlation, it's not a big one, but I
Yeah.
think that there's.
Yeah,
I definitely, I think it can be. It's not a correlation if people wanna use it as a second
Right.
home, they're not gonna wanna rent it out. But it is a correlation for like an investor
Mhm.
who's deciding, you know, if they get more money from long-term versus short-term.
mhm.
So there is that correlation for sure, but it just, I think we have gotten so many of them that the amount that you can rent them out, you know, the number of days has gone down for each rental, so. There were so many of them on the market.
I don't know if they can pull that, but that might be an interesting, like, occupancy rate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know if she has that or not. I know, like, Dee Red does a lot, so she might be able to just pull that, but obviously I don't want to make it too complicated. But it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see, like, what those occupancy rates are, especially like, I mean, our shoulders, with the amount of business we've been getting in the shoulder
Mhm.
seasons, and that directly affects downtown
Yeah.
and, like, businesses.
Right, and like, the shift between, nightly rate trends, like, AAA can show you that our occupancy is healthy, but we manage that by incentivizing people with lower rates. Whereas post-COVID or during COVID,
yeah.
oh my gosh, the sky was the limit, because we could name our price almost, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Half on it, though.
Yeah.
The one that goes as high as they recommended.
But it's
Right.
different now.
Yeah.
So our occupancy, because we manage it through dynamic pricing, we keep our
Say the 26th.
occupancy healthy.
Yeah.
Right,
Because that keeps us rolling, and we don't wanna go too low, but
Because like it's.
that invites,
you don't wanna do our cheap hideaway
yeah,
pricing.
yeah. So, you know, but it is, but nightly rates have definitely shifted from COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the whole point back in when short-term rentals started is that you could get a whole house for the same price you could get a motel or hotel for. So you could have your whole, and have more room.
Mhm.
And it got to a point during COVID, I thought, that where it was like, it was a lot more, you
Mhm.
know, so people,
Mhm.
it was definitely kind of shifted back.
Yeah, I mean, I went back, like, that was one thing when we went to Phoenix this year, is were looking at getting 2 hotel rooms for a week, and it was like $3,000 cheaper for us to get a 2-bedroom apartment
Right,
with their own separate bathrooms in the living area, and,
right. I mean, that's really what
Right.
started short-term rentals
Yeah.
becoming so popular, because it was an alternative to that.
I think a place to have your family make dinner, all that.
Yeah. Do we have anything else, guys? Nope, the most would be good.
Oh, here, hang on a second. Brian said,
Oh.
I'm not seeing any attachments. Here, let me try that again.
Has anybody struggled with, weekly trash pickups recently?
Like them, they're not coming to pick up the
Yeah.
garbage?
We've had several on the golf course.
Oh,
They just skip us. And I mean, we're pulling cans out at 6 a.m.
wow.
To make sure that we're not,
Missing it.
yeah.
Lonnie, have you heard anything?
Well, there's been some, but if you don't let us know, we can't let the public know.
Okay,
So just email
okay.
the main
All
one.
right.
I feel like there should be like some sort of,
Hotline.
right, I was gonna say a contact form that just tracks specifically trash-related issues.
Oh, I don't know, we get it throughout the whole town, but
Right.
we have to be made aware of it because
That's,
Republic
that's what
won't
I'm
fix
saying
it
is,
if we don't know, because people can't call Republic, they'll tell them, call the city.
yeah. Well, I'm saying like if there was a form on the website, city website, to report it to you, like essentially it comes in as like a submission, and then you can pull an Excel spreadsheet with all the complaints. Because I would love to have just an easy way where I'm not bugging you every time.
Yeah, there is submissions on, you know, that you can submit stuff and it comes right to our emails and stuff.
Okay.
Well, we can just email them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Or phone call, too.
Pretty quick, yeah.
Hey, biscuit me. And if you see your other neighbor, you know, if it's the whole section, it's
They
like,
just literally took somebody's can yesterday, threw it in the back of the
What?
truck and left with it.
what? Was it broken?
I have no idea, so that was one of the,
That's another
You get the
question.
video?
So when we need new cans, we do call the city, right? Okay.
I don't know. I would love to talk to the city, but
you
It-
can't, because you're commercial.
I know. I wanna know when my bill went from $154 up to $220 now.
Holy.
Like,
How often?
it,
Monthly?
no, gradually it's been going up like $20 a month,
Oh.
and like all of a sudden it's, so I gotta call them.
We are currently the mayor, so do something about it.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
Enact an ordinance.
I know. All commercial trash will now go through the city. God.
Are we adjourning?
Yes, we're adjourned.